Hi, I'm Geneva Long, CEO of Bowlus, and today we're going to be talking all about EV towing. Now, here at Bowlus, we've done tons of EV towing for many, many years, coming up on maybe 10 years now. So we have lots of tips to know about, and we're going to get into all of those. But first of all, I just want to add that EV towing for camping vacations is very possible if you select the right RV, and we'll go over that as well. But we've taken, the Bowlus trailers coast to coast, all the way to Canada, across Canada, all while using the existing charging network. So let's dive into that. So we have three Bowlus trailers here, and as we get started with EV towing, I just want to first say that range is key. And that's, what we're all concerned about when we're using EV cars, but it becomes even more important when you're towing. So let's just start off with some stats to get started. Tesla X towing a Bowlus gets about 235 miles per charge. There's no other duo that comes close on this in terms of battery size and to obviously ability to tow. Vehicles of comparable length and weight don't usually make it past the 50 to 95 mile range, and that's including other aluminum travel trailers. The Bowlus has its roots in aircraft construction, so lightweight is just another feature that makes it the ideal companion for an RV. We have the Rivet, which has a GVWR of 3,500 pounds, and then we have the Endless Highways, which has a GVWR of 4,000 pounds. And as a result, towing a Bowlus with an EV, you have a highly stable towing experience at 65 miles an hour, depending on speed limits, of course. The Tesla X consumes about 419 watt hours per mile, which is about 2.39 miles per kilowatt hour. So that gives it about the total range of 238.6 miles per charge. We've also done testing with the Cybertruck, which consumes 538 watt hours per mile, which is 1.86 miles per kilowatt hour, which gives the Cybertruck the total range of 228.6 miles per charge. Rivian R1S, 550 watt hours per mile, which is 1.81 miles per kilowatt hour. So that gives a total range of 244 miles per charge. Lots of options to tow the Bowlus. Now on to my tips and tricks. So one of the most important things when going camping with an RV or going camping with an EV is easy hitching and unhitching. And that's going to streamline your charging process. So a lot of EV charging stations don't always have space to continue to stay hitched up because obviously they're smaller, and any of us who have an EV knows what that looks like. And there are many great organizations like RVIA working on this, but it's going to be a little bit. And so with most travel trailers, it would be a hassle because you are most likely going to need to unhitch your travel trailer every time you want to hitch or every time you want to charge your EV. But with the Bowlus, you can be hitched and unhitched in under a minute. You can move the Bowlus by hand, and I'll insert a video of me moving a Bowlus by hand in the showroom. And so that streamlined profile also means that it's narrow enough to be pulled behind your EV without extension mirrors, which would also detract from your range, and handling is really great. So you can cross narrow bridges and find parking options really easily. And that's because the Bowlus is the same width as your EV, so 80 inches wide. The second you get into having RVs that are wider than your tow vehicle, obviously that's going to impact your range, also increase your need for extension mirrors, and never mind the whole rest of the conversation about handling. And now let's get into charging at campsites. So you can even charge your EV and your Bowlus at campsites. So one of our owners recommends opting for sites with 15 amp service, and that way you can plug the Bowlus into the 120 volt outlet, and then you can plug your EV into the 240 outlet and set the current to 28 amps or less. That being said, even a 30 amp 120 volt site works well with the Bowlus and the EV. One thing's for certain, certainly zero emission camping with an EV and Bowlus duo is simple and easy. Now, some other tips that are worth mentioning from those with experience towing lightweight travel trailers with EVs. So begin each day of traveling about 5 miles per hour under the speed limit on surface routes and 62 miles per hour on highways. In 20 to 30 minutes, you'll have a good idea of the day's consumption based on the weather and the terrain. Some owners have found that under 500 watt hours per mile speeds could comfortably be matched to the speed limit. But if the Tesla was over 600 watt hours per mile, you might want to consider slowing down unless, of course, you have the next charging destination within 100 miles or so. Another tip is that you can get to about 60 miles per hour in about 5 seconds and enjoy long, steep mountain passes as fast as the car in front of you with air conditioning running full blast at 110-degree heat. You also have, no concerns about overheating or power throttling or anything like that. Also very easy to pass other vehicles on uphill grades if you need to. That acceleration is definitely simple to do. And another way to determine the miles per charge on each trip is actually to double the distance and then add or subtract 12 miles per 1,000 feet difference between the starting and ending elevation. Fortunately, gauging watt hours per mile is only necessary for the first few trips. After several hundred miles of towing, your EV trip planner will likely learn the characteristics of towing with a Bowlus and be able to reliably estimate range. However, it's always worth the disclaimer that headwinds and cold temperatures can have a negative impact on range, and your EV can't always account for this. Feel free to drop in the comments and let us know other tips and tricks that you have for towing with your EV, and anything else we should cover on the next time we talk about EVs and towing with lightweight aerodynamic off-grid travel trailers. You can reach out to our sales team at sales@bowlus.com or visit us at www.bowlus.com.